So for this workshop, Finding eBook Access in a Shifting World, I'm going to show you our expanded eBook collections guide and talk briefly about some of the platforms we found useful as we've been helping people find eBooks while print books are unavailable. And after that, Catherine is going to demo some eBook searches. So first, I'm going to show you how to get started. As with any research project, it's a great idea to begin at the library's homepage, which you can see here. The mustard yellow banner up at the top will take you to a page listing all of the online services that are available while the physical library is closed. And just so you know, we're still offering reference services. Your subject librarians are still available for research consultations remotely, and we are still offering online workshops like this one. And very importantly, Interlibrary Loan is still operating, and you can request journal articles and single chapters of books. But we're going to jump right in and talk about ebooks. Ordinarily, if you were searching for a book on a topic, whether a print book or an ebook, you would start with OneSearch, which you can find right in the middle of this page. Personally, I like to use the Advanced Search feature because Advanced Search lets you set limits so you get fewer but more relevant search results. You can see here that in OneSearch, I have set the limits to search the Graduate Center for books, and I can add a title and author. So when you're looking for an ebook, start here to see if the GC already has it. This is the OneSearch record for the book A Line in the Tar Sands, Struggles for Environmental Justice. And underneath the title, you can see that we do have the ebook. To read it, all you have to do is click on the green link that says Full Text Available and log in with your GC network credentials to access the full text. However, we don't always have the ebook. This is the OneSearch record for Race for Profit, How Banks and the Real Estate Industry Undermine Black Home Ownership. And you can see here that while we do have the print book on reserve, we don't have a copy of the ebook. A good way to see if it's likely that an ebook exists is to check Worldcat, which will help you make an educated guess about the existence of an ebook and help you figure out where to search for it. And you can always go straight to Worldcat to search directly, but if you are already looking at the record in OneSearch, you can simply click on the word links on the left-hand side, which will bring you further down in the record, and then you can click on the link to see this item in Worldcat. When you click there, it'll either open a search page like this one or the record for the book. And on the left-hand side, you can see that Race for Profit shows 2 ebook records. You would then go through those results to search for an accessible ebook. And sometimes the results will link just to a table of contents or to a database or other resource that we don't have access to. But then you can still use that information to search further. It's good to remember that not every print book is available as an ebook, and not all ebooks are cataloged in Worldcat. Sometimes the best you can find is a limited preview in Google Books. The ebook records in Worldcat will definitely help, but the key to figuring out where to search for an ebook is looking at the catalog record, either in OneSearch or in Worldcat, to find out the publisher and the year of publication. Recently published books may be available directly from the publishers or through ebook platforms like EBSCO or open access sites. And older titles might have been scanned as part of a retrospective scanning project and be available within a database like Jstor, Ebooks, or the Internet Archive. That brings us to our ebook collections guide. And I'm opening it in a browser. And so this guide is where you can see all of the collections of ebooks that we have at the Graduate Center and get access to them. Now that libraries everywhere are closed and we don't have access to physical materials, this guide has become indispensable. This is the one place where you can access the ebooks from all the different databases and platforms that we have temporarily available to us. And if you scroll down in the guide, you can see all the different resources that have the word trial next to them in orange. And these are the resources with temporarily expanded content. Our ebooks have been made available by the tremendous work of our electronic resources librarian, who's done an amazing job to set up access to all of these resources for us. And these temporarily available ebooks have not been added to OneSearch. So the only way to find them is to search using the links that are in this guide. So once you know the name of the publisher of the book and the date of publication, and are pretty sure that an ebook exists somewhere. You then browse through this list of resources and pick out the ones that seem most likely to contain your ebook and then search there. And this list here near the top, called Lists of Content Open Due to COVID-19, is very helpful for figuring out where to look. The first one, these are 3 different tools. The first one, called the Public Books Database, has a list of academic publishers. And you just scroll down here to see it. And what you do is you click on the name of a publisher to find out where their books are available and for how long. And say you're looking for a book that was published by Fordham University Press. So you just click on the title of the press, and then you see here, Fordham University Press has made selected books and journals available for free on Project Muse. So then you would go back to our ebook collections guide, scroll down until you see Project Muse ebooks temporarily accessible during COVID-19, and click there, log in with your GC network credentials, and search for the book. So that's a great resource to know about. And also the other 2 tools in this box, Publisher Access Changes COVID-19 and University Press Social Distancing Collaboration, also both have lists of publishers, and they indicate where you can get temporary access to those to that content. So these are very handy tools to know about. The first time we did this workshop, there were a few other resources included, but they have since expired. But that's okay, because there are still so many reliable sources for ebooks that you can find using this guide. And here on the left-hand side, you see a mini version of the guide and you can see just from here, without scrolling, all of the different resources that are listed. And among those resources are these 5 university presses: University of Alberta, Calgary, Duke, University of Michigan, and Ohio State. Now, each of these university presses has temporarily made available their ebook content. So if a book you're looking for was published by one of these presses, all you have to do is find them on the list, click on the link, search for your book, and hopefully it will be there. So I'm not going to go into those in any depth, because those are pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go back to our ebooks collection guide and show you a few of the others. This top box on the right here is dedicated to the New York Public Library's resources. And I'm going to click here on New York Public Library electronic books. Now, the NYPL calls their ebook collection Ebook Central, and they have more than 300,000 ebooks and audiobooks in every genre for every audience, and it's a really wonderful resource. But they also, in addition to having popular books and magazines, they also have scholarly books. And if you scroll all the way down on this page, you can see here a section called eBooks from Scholarly Presses. And the first one they have here, they have the entire catalog of the very short introductions from Oxford series. And these are great. They're great for getting a readable but authoritative overview of a topic. And you might not be looking for one of these books specifically, but if you need a good overview of a subject, these are really great to know about. And then also in this section, you have Project Muse and Sage. And these are databases that we also subscribe to at the Graduate Center. But the thing to remember is that each library's subscription to a particular database might be different from the next library's subscription to that very same database. And we have both of these at the GC, and if you're looking for a book that you think might be in Project Muse or Sage, for instance, and you don't see it when you search at the Graduate Center, you can log in here at NYPL and search their databases for the book you're looking for, and chances are they might have it even though we might not have it. So these are good to know about. So even though we both have, we at the GC and the New York Public Library have subscriptions to the same databases, the content might be a little different at both. So if you can't find a book, check the other library's instance of that database. And then I wanted to mention this one here, the University Press Scholarship Online collection. And this is what it looks like when you log in. And you would log into all of these New York Public Library resources using an NYPL barcode and PIN. And if you don't already have a library card for the New York Public Library, you can just go to their website, nypl.org, and a box will pop up. Simply E, get your library card through the Simply E app, and you just fill out the form and you can get a library card and then access all of these ebooks and other electronic resources that are available on their website. So that's good to have in any case. But to use these particular databases, you definitely need an NYPL login, PIN, and barcode number. So this is the University Press Scholarship Online, and this includes 32,000 titles across 31 subject areas. You can see up there on the top right. And we have had very good luck using this database, finding books for people who have been filling out the search forms. So Oxford University Press, California Scholarship Online, Chicago, and all those other presses have ebook resources that are available through this database. And so if you're looking for a book that was published by Oxford, for instance, and you don't find it at the Graduate Center through our subscription, you can try this database, University Press Scholarship Online, at the New York Public Library, and they may have the resource that you're looking for. But again, you'll need your New York Public Library card and PIN to access these resources. All right, so right above the ebooks from scholarly presses is a section called Ebooks Digitized from Library Collections. The first one here, digital collections, not necessarily ebooks at all, but some pretty amazing digital content right here, almost 900,000 items. And these are photographs, prints, manuscripts, maps, drawings, all kinds of resources that you can find here. Not necessarily ebooks, maybe some pamphlets and menus and things like that, but still it's great content that they have. And then you all probably know Google Books, so I'm not going to talk about that one too much. And then HathiTrust. This is the GC is also a partner of HathiTrust, so we have good access to this database, and we're going to look at that one later. I wanted to show you this one, Digital Research Books. And this is a really a pretty cool new tool. It's in beta, and it contains millions of open access digital books from multiple sources worldwide. Everything here is free to read, download, and keep. No library card required, as it says up at the top. And most of the content is from HathiTrust, the Directory of Open Access Books, and Project Gutenberg. And of course, other sources as well, but most of it comes from those sources. And you can search in the search box here by keyword or subject if you want to find books on a particular topic. And if you're looking for something specific, you can search by title or by author. So this is a very handy new source, sort of a union catalog that lets you search across several different open access platforms simultaneously. So that's very helpful. So I'm going to go now to going back to our ebooks guide. You're getting a view of all of the research guides on the library's website here. Ebook collections. Okay, the next one I wanted to show you is the National Emergency Library of the Internet Archive. And here it is on the list, and you see the trial button next to it. And so this is the National Emergency Library. And here they have, it's a temporary collection of books that supports emergency remote teaching, research activities, independent scholarship, and intellectual stimulation while universities, schools, training centers, and libraries are closed. They have 1.3 million scans of books available here. And this is pretty amazing. Most of these are 20th century books, and they're available for unlimited borrowing until June 30th, or until this crisis is over, whichever comes first, and that's really pretty amazing. However, not everybody is happy with the Internet Archive's sharing of all these great resources. And one moment here while I show you a different slide. This is an article. This is an article that appeared on June 1st in the New York Times. The Internet Archive is being sued by a number of publishers together, and this is Brewster Kahle, the founder of the Internet Archive, carrying a box of books, and their defense of their activities, which I think are really commendable. They say that he said, as a library, the Internet Archive acquires books and lends them as libraries have always done. This supports publishing and authors and readers, publishers using libraries for lending books, in this case, suing libraries for lending books, in this case, protected digital versions, and while schools and libraries are closed, is not in anyone's interests. And I think that is very commendable, and I hope that they prevail in the lawsuit because it would have implications for the rest of their digital lending also. I'm gonna go back. All right, here we are back on the guide. I'll go back into the Internet Archive. So I'm going to demo a search in here on Angela Davis's book, The Meaning of Freedom. And this is the search box down here on the bottom. All right, and 23 results come up with that phrase in quotes, and you can scroll down to see them. Many different books. Angela Davis's book is here, the first one. And when you get results, you can limit by year, author, etc. And there is immediately available is a preview, and you can browse through just like a book and look at the preview to see if you might want this book, read the back cover. And if you do want it, all you have to do is log in to borrow it, and you can keep it for 14 days. And to borrow books, all you have to do is create a free account using any email address, and you create a password, and then you're welcome to borrow the books in their collection. Not only the books in the National Emergency Library, they have other texts here as well. They also have the Open Library, which are actual, not scans of ebooks, but ebooks themselves. And they have many millions, I think, books there. And all of their books consist of, I think, 4.3 million books in several different libraries. This is one of the biggest sites there is. They have, not only do they have text, but they have film, audio, TV, software, images, recordings, you name it. They have, this is a vast site, and it is a really good place to find obscure titles, classic books, older books, as well as recent publications. It's a really vast archive. And this is a really great one to know about when you're looking for books. So I'm going to go back to our ebooks guide. And then I also wanted to show you the Project Muse ebooks. And this is one of the Graduate Center subscription services. So I'm going to log in. Accept cookies. And then so here you see you can just browse through their content. And if right here it says there are 24,160 items, content that I have access to. But if you click on all content, there are 67,882 results. So if you can search here, and then you can limit back to what we have. And you can also browse, you can limit to books, you can browse by publisher, you can browse by series, you can browse by research area, and you can also search. They also have over here an advanced search option. But if you just want to search by keyword, I'm going to do a quick search on the keyword anti-racism. And it jumped, the default went back to all content. So I'm going to select we have 1,844 results. And you see this little locked symbol. That means we don't have access to this one. If you clicked on the Find it at CUNY link, it would go through our resources and perhaps end up at a link where you could request the item via interlibrary loan. But I'm going to limit to content that we have access to. And I'm going to limit also just to books. And that narrowed it down to 260 results. And all of these are available immediately. We can view them for free, save them. And going down the list here. So this is really, really a wonderful source for finding books. And while we don't have access to everything, and not even most things in this database, it's been very helpful to find resources. And some of these titles that are available are only available temporarily, but we have them for now, so this is good. I'm going to just talk briefly about the open access ebooks that are available. So many of them are right on this page, and when they have the little key icon, that's an open lock icon, that means that they are open access sources. And then there's a separate tab in the guide just for open access ebooks. And there are some really great resources here. So we have HathiTrust Digital Library. We saw the Internet Archive and some of these others. And I'm going to show you a few of them. We already looked at New York Public Library's beta site, the Digital Research Books. But I have a few more that I wanted to highlight. I'm going to go back to PowerPoint just for a minute. And to show you this, these are 5 sources that are on the research guide. We have first the Library of Congress, and instead of going through them one by one, because I'd have to toggle back between this slide and the browser, I'm just going to mention them all here, and then I will show you from the browser so I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth. So first we have the Library of Congress, open access books, BergCon, open access books, the Directory of Open Access Books, DOAB, Project Gutenberg, Perseus Catalog, and Standard Books. So hang on while I go back to the browser. All right. So the first one, I believe, is on this page. Library of Congress Open Access Books. So now they have, this may not seem so impressive after the Internet Archive, but they have 712 titles here. That's not so many, but these are, seem like worthwhile books. Most of these, a notable point about these books is that most of them, all but 9, were published after the year 2000. So these are more recent books than you normally would expect to see in an open access collection. And you can search for them, but you'll be searching across all Library of Congress holdings. Or you can use these facets on the left to limit by location, by the collection they're from, by the contributor of the book, or you can browse through the title by subject. And you'll see there are not that many, 40, history and criticism, but still this is a notable and worthwhile place to look for ebooks. So that's the Library of Congress one. Then the BergCon Open Access Books is right here. And a really good way to approach this site is to use the subject categories that they have listed at the top here. I'm going to click on Film and Media Studies. And they have some highlights here, but you can browse all the titles that they have available. And there are quite a few good titles here that would be helpful for people in cinema studies and film studies. So this is a great resource for the subjects that they have: anthropology, archaeology, cultural studies, film and media, geography, history, mobility studies, etc. So this is a good one to know about as well. And then the directory of open access books is on this tab, I believe. There we go, it was on the first tab, sorry. And the purpose of this resource is to increase the discoverability of open access books. And I believe they have something like 28,000 ebooks here from many publishers around the globe. And that new source from the New York Public Library, the digital research books, will include likely many of the books that you will find here, the research books that are in this directory of open access books. And that might be if I were looking for something and I didn't find it in the New York Public Library's beta tool, and I thought it still might be available, I would check here in this directory as well. And when you find sources, you can click and go right to them. So a lot of the best results that I personally have found when I've been looking for titles that are hard to find is that flexibility is really important, and don't give up if you don't find it in the first or even the second or the third source. There are so many places that might have the book, and so it's good to try a few different ones. So that's DOAB. And then Project Gutenberg is on the other tab. So here we are in Project Gutenberg. They have about 60,000 free out-of-copyright books, and these have been digitized by volunteers. Hopefully, here we go. And you can search for the books here. You can browse the catalog. It's a little, I think I'm having bandwidth issues right now, so it's a little slow. Okay, here we go. So you can browse by author, by title. They have books in more than 50 languages. So this is an oldie but goodie. This site has been around for a long time, and you can sort of tell that it's an older site just because the interface is a little old-fashioned looking. But if you remember, this Project Gutenberg is one of the main sources that feeds that New York Public Library beta site. So you could search there, and then you could come back and search here if you don't find your book. But this one has been around for a long time, and it's a reliable source. And then back here on the main page, we have standard books. And this one, I find this one very intriguing. This is a volunteer-driven, not-for-profit platform, and it consists entirely of works in the public domain. And these are the same books, that you would find in Project Gutenberg, the Internet Archive, and elsewhere. But the emphasis here is on a pleasant reading experience, and they have nice artwork. The books are formatted well, and so it's if you want the experience of reading to be a good one, and if that's important to you when you're looking at an ebook, print books, in my mind, they're the way I like to read most. But when you have to read an ebook, you can use this site, and you can have the best sort of reading experience that might be available when you're reading a book online. So this is a very pleasant site to use, and if you're reading a book on a small device or on your screen, this is a good one if you want to make sure that it's as pleasant as possible. So this is a good one. So I am going to go back to the PowerPoint. All right, so these are the ones we just looked at: Library of Congress, Berghahn, DOAB, Project Gutenberg, Perseus. Oh, I forgot to show you Perseus. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you about it so I don't waste the time. Perseus is a really great resource for classics studies. And it's pretty much a bibliography. And like Project Gutenberg, it's not as deluxe, of course, as standard books, but it is a really great site for scholars of Greek and Latin, ancient texts, and you can link directly to full works. But it serves as a sort of a union bibliography of covering Greek and Latin texts. So this is a great one for scholars of the classics. All right, and finally, the last one I wanted to show you. When all else fails, if there's a particular book and you need it and nothing else will do, this is a really good one to try. Scribd is not free, it's a commercial site, but it has thousands of books, ebooks, and magazines, and it's a really good last resort to know about. If you can't find your book anywhere else, they might have it, but what you have to do is you have to sign up for a free trial. You have to provide your name, your email address, you give them a credit card number, create an account and password. But if they have your book, you can, keep it for 30 days. You just have to remember to cancel or you'll be charged for the monthly subscription. But anyway, it's a good last resort. And so here we are back at our research guide. And just to sum up, there's so much availability in our regular subscription databases that we have for articles and books in those open access sites. And if you are looking for a book and you don't find the exact specific book you're looking for, hopefully you'll be able to find other books that will fill the research need, because there really is a lot of reliable, authoritative content available in our databases and on the open access sites that hopefully you'll be able to find some books that you need. And if you need any help, you can reach out to us via chat. You can contact your subject librarian. You can fill out the ebook search request form and the ebook detectives will try to find it for you. And just remember that the bottom line, when you're looking for a book, make sure you know the publisher and the date of publication, then you go through the likely sources and hopefully find it. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about, those are the highlights, and just the key really is just to be flexible and, try a few different things, and hopefully you will find a book, at least a book, if not the book you were looking for, a good book that will help you with your research projects. So that's it for me, and I will turn it back over to Catherine, who is going to demo some ebooks searching.
Indeed, thank you, Donna.
Okay.
So yes, no, Donna's talked about the whole, look and look, and there's always another place to look, and you don't want to give up before you. Sorry, I'm looking also at the same time looking for my content share things. Okay, I want to share. Screen. No, I want to share my. Yes, that's what I want to share. Okay. But I'm going to show you how you putting that into practice, how it actually works, and we've done now hundreds of these searches. So in a way, it gets to be sort of second nature in shorthand. So, please interrupt me if I don't seem to be making, whoa, wait a second. Where are you? Donna, can you just?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Because no, the icon for the WebEx went away off my screen.
Oh no.
Great. Glad to know. So I have actually made this little checklist I made it for myself, and then I gave everybody access to it, and people seem to think it's helpful. I have to do this because I tend to get lost in the search. I feel like I'm not a super linear thinker, and this really helps me. I'm gonna just basically pick a title. let's see. And that we've already done.
Oh, excuse me, Catherine, your screen is gray.
Yes, and the reason is because I'm now looking at a bunch of titles. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to do. Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. It's gray again, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to move. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay. This is a book that we were asked for some time ago. Didn't find it, so I know we can find it. Now, when you start right here, it does default to ebooks, so I can do the search and know that I'm coming up with ebooks. If I keep going, I would actually do what Donna did earlier, go to advanced search, so that I can narrow it just to ebooks and just the GC. So here we have it. We have it. It's not useful at the moment that we have it. But what is kind of useful is that I can go down here and I can see, okay, Duke University Press. Okay. So that might be helpful. I am now, oops, doesn't this want to come out? My next step at this point, usually, even though I now know what the publisher is, I'm still going to go to Worldcat, because often Worldcat will tell me whether there is an ebook. Here I will go to books, and oh shoot, what was that title? Dictionary art. I think that was it. Yes. Okay, so now this is going to tell me at first that it's just a print book, but now I go, one down, I see that okay, it is an ebook. Probably. Sometimes I get a false positive on that. But in this case, I think I can be pretty sure that it is, because it's actually giving me an online option here. It's doubtful that going through this link is going to get it for me, because you almost always need to go through the GC's proxy server. And that means you have to start from the website. What was that again? That was Jstor. Now we've got all these, all of these sources. Which one do you start with? Because this says it's in Jstor Ebooks, that's probably where I'm going to start. I might also, if it didn't have that, I might go directly to the publisher. Right now, a lot of publishers are, as we've mentioned, opening their catalogs, and it might be available right from the publisher. But since I saw that, I'm going to look at Jstor first. All right, there we go. Jstor Ebooks. And again, it's going to ask me for my username and password. I'm lazier than Donna is. I just leave it. Get myself signed in. Whoops, official culture. There's a journal article. Review. More reviews. Not seeing the actual book. And I'm seeing journals. Now I can. It's not letting me just look at a book. Well, I mean, I can narrow it down to books. But it's going to show me book chapters is my guess. Why is that not? That's okay. That's odd. It's not allowing me to do that. Let me see if I can narrow down to book chapters. Oh, okay. Is that the problem? Yes, that was the problem. I hadn't okayed. So now that I'm just looking for books, if they actually had it available to me, it would be in the first few results. So I can be pretty sure that it's not there. So I'm gonna copy and paste that one there. I'm gonna go back to my list. Now I might go through all of these, but since I saw that that book was from Duke, I'm going to try the Duke books, if it will load. So here we go. Okay. And you can see because I came from our site, I'm registered as, is this good? No, I guess. Knows I'm coming from the Graduate Center.
Just to mention, I've had good luck with this site.
There it is. Now the question is, do we have access? Yes, it looks like we do. Sorry, it's slow, but there we go. And now I can go down here. I can download the PDFs. I can save this link so that I don't have to go through this whole rigmarole again. So that's one. I can also, let's see who we still got here. We had a sort of exciting one right before right before we started. I'm going to close out some of these. I'm going to go back to the main library site. I'm going to have to look at the title again, of course. Okay. Sorry, this was a request that we just got a couple of days ago. This is the title. Search. Again, we have it physically in the stacks. Not currently helpful. I'm going to take a look at it and okay, free press, that doesn't really ring a bell for me. Like some of the presses, you start to recognize if you're doing this a lot. Oh, their books are in Project Muse. Oh, their books are often in Jstor or whatever. Free press isn't really ringing a bell, but I'm looking at this, 1986. That means that it probably doesn't have an ebook. I'm gonna double check that just to be sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go here and view all of the formats just in case, but print book, print book, print, 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 print. Oh, well, there's an ebook. What is that gonna do? Okay, this is Archive, Open Library, HathiTrust. Those are scans. These, we talked about the Internet Archive. Open Library is a project of theirs, and HathiTrust is another one. The books that you get from those are scanned. Because we have the book, and because I'm seeing that HathiTrust also has the book, I'm going to go look there. It could easily be available through the Internet Archive, but that's one that, we showed you they are under some pressure. It is totally possible that those books will not be available forever or for very long. Now, to do a search that will get you the books that we actually have access to, and just including temporary access, here you have to log in. Come on. There. Okay. Because I've been here before, it's defaulting to that, but there's a whole bunch of, so we'll pick ourselves out of the drop-down menu. Now I'm going to have to log in with my Graduate Center credentials. What? I might have to. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm going to have to erase my history, actually. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm sorry. I had no idea this was going to happen, but I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Leave everything blank, just so that I can delete my browser history. I think that will fix my problem.
Some of these have been pesky, these sources.
But clearing the browser history is always a good idea if you're having connection problems or access problems. Often, having a bunch of old cookies will sort of gum up your browser. I mean, not literally, but okay. Let's try this here. Go back to screen sharing. And okay, that's my stale request. It's so funny. Stale request. Actually, I'm going to open a new window. Do this all again. Okay, well, I know that worked now because now I'm going to have to go find Katie. Oh, no.
Maybe it's their glitch.
I think it might be. Darn. Anyway, because I wanted to show this just because HathiTrust does in fact have that book. But I don't think I'm going to get it if I do that now because I'm not logged in from CUNY. Nope. See here, I'm not gonna see it. If I do the catalog and not full view, I probably will get it. If that makes any sense. Yeah, here it is. It's telling me it's limited and it's search only. That is because the way that HathiTrust is doing this temporary access, you can only access their scanned copy of the book if you own a physical copy of the book. And so they have to check our library's catalog against their catalog to give us the correct access. Just now, I have had this. Yeah, still saying limited. Sometimes if you can do a workaround and get it, well. I tell them not to remember my login, just in case that helps. Hey, by God.
It got it.
And now I'm seeing the link, temporary access. Go to the link. Oh, and I had actually checked it out earlier, so now I would get a a thing saying borrow, and it lets you borrow it for an hour, which doesn't sound very generous, except of course that you can just go back and borrow it again and again and again, as long as no one else is using it. You cannot download from HathiTrust. For a while, they were letting people download one page at a time, but now I don't know if it was if people were downloading hundreds of pages despite having to download it one page at a time, but they're not doing that anymore. Okay, but here we are. Here's the book, and hopefully that would be good enough. I'm going to return it. And next, let me see, who have we got left? Oh, Linda, you seem to be the only person left. Yeah, I'm going to unmute you.
It's really quite fascinating to see you going through problems of logging in and that kind of stuff, because I'm always so frustrated and I always think it's something I'm doing. I did want to ask you, it's so useful to see all of this because I'm just beginning now to start doing research. But the question I have is about taking notes in these things. I really dislike using the ebooks for that. And in the past, when I've had the opportunity of either getting the ebook, immediately or running down to the GC to get it out of the library, I would always do the latter so that I could sit and take notes. Is there functionality to take notes?
I think
yes and no. I mean, it sort of depends, right? So HathiTrust, you can only look at what you've got online on the screen. Now, if you're able to download a PDF, then you can open it in something like Adobe Acrobat, which does have the ability to take notes. Or even like if you're on a Macintosh, preview will let you take notes.
That's interesting. I never thought about using Adobe to take notes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. You can use the comment function and put comments in it. You can highlight. I think you can even draw on the text. I'd have to double check that. I know you can do that in Preview. I actually find Preview, although it is a simpler program, I find it more user friendly, and I would prefer using it.
What's Preview? I've not even heard of that.
Oh, it's the native Apple Macintosh.
Oh, okay. I don't. Yeah, I'm using a PC.
Yeah, I actually also use a PC now too.
Okay, this is another, like, all of this is just so overwhelming because I just switched to an iPhone, so I'm like learning that, dealing with that, and then all of this technology. It's just, oh my God, especially for those of us who are older, it's really, really overwhelming, all of this stuff. But where is your list? Do you have that on the library website of the sequential steps?
Oh, I don't actually. It's a Google Doc, but I'm happy to send it to you.
Yeah, that looks really useful to do because I'm assuming what you want us to do is try to find it or try to find things ourselves, and then if we run into problems.
Yeah, we're happy to help. Yeah.
What?
It's faster for you too if you can use these techniques and find books yourselves, because of course we have a list in a limited number of people to put on it, so it can take us a few days to get
Okay.
to search. Sometimes we can do it right away, but
Yeah, the other thing I'm realizing, my home college is York, and so I've only used the interlibrary loan there, but I'm beginning to think that I should set up an account at the GC. I can have the two different accounts, right?
if you have a GC affiliation, do you teach at the GC? Also?
Yes.
Then you should be able to do that. Yeah. Contact your department. So if you contact the APO in your department,
Yeah.
they should be able to, like, IT will set you up, but they need like some sort of confirmation letter or something that.
Okay. I hope, I tried to get because we didn't get offered a Zoom account at York, although, we do have the WebEx, and I tried to get that, and she said no, because there were only limited accounts. So I don't know how much generosity there is if you're what do they call us, consortium faculty or something.
Yeah, I can't tell you that either. So
You've got so many. I mean, it's like night and day. You should get a sense of what York and the other poorest schools have compared to what the GC has. It'll make it'll really be an interesting look because we have so much less than what you have.
Each school is different. I just put in the chat a link to a blog post that we had for tips and tricks for finding ebooks. That just,
Okay.
it's not as specific as Catherine's list, but it's the general outline of the steps that we've been taking to find them.
Okay, thank you for that.
and depending on what you're looking for, a different list might work better for you. I mean, like I said, we are now, after you do 20 or 30 of these searches, you kind of get a sense, okay, this book was published in 2016. There's probably going to be an ebook of it. So the first place I should look is here, or first I should go to the publisher. This book was published in 1979. There isn't going to be an ebook probably. So I should be looking at the Internet Archive. I should be looking at HathiTrust. But you can't expect yourself to to know all of those things when you start.
Right. And then you were saying the difference with the HathiTrust is that they're scanned. So what does that mean? I mean, what
It
what
means somebody has literally taken a physical book and put it through a scanner. So what you're seeing are pictures of the pages.
okay. But can you search those pages in the same way?
It depends a little bit on how the scan was done. Often, yes. And I mean, there's a thing called OCR, which is optical character recognition, and software that does optical character recognition can read the printed page, you know, sort of as if it were a born digital electronic document. It's not, it's not 100%, but it can be pretty good. So again, it's like it's a little bit of it's a software question there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't, I mean, my goodness, I like have your full attention. I can't think of anything else. I mean, this was just very useful to just get a sense because I haven't, during the spring, I was just so crazed that, I haven't had any opportunity, but to do any of my own work. But one of the things I miss so much is coming to the library and getting all the books. So
me too.
no, I mean and I would do that not just for scholarly books, but it was a ritual for pleasure books too. And so I really miss that.
Linda, I'm losing you. I think you maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry. That's another reason why I'm thinking about getting the microphone. Yeah, I just this was just a really useful and helpful introduction. So I think the best thing to do is for me to sort of look around, see what I need. I'm trying to work on a proposal for a project. I haven't really conceptualized it yet, but for something on Georgia O'Keeffe's fans. So I have a book that I couldn't bring back on fan studies, and I know there's a whole subfield of fan studies now, and there's a lot of stuff floating around. So I just wanted to read as much as I could, and I was really hoping. I had asked for this because I teach a course at the GC on celebrity studies. There's a journal, a particular journal now. Of course, I can't think of the name of it, but we don't have a subscription to it. I was hoping we could get that. I did request it, but it's like the major scholarly journal. So I'm hoping for that. The other thing that's so great about the GC compared to other places is that it's so great that you can buy books when we ask you to. Really, other places we don't. So I'm just letting you know this if you have any, if there's anything you could do, each of you in your positions, because, talk about equity, it really galled me, this whole conversation about equity. Well, one way to have equity in our university is to have a little bit more equity among our libraries.
Yeah, well, the problem there is that, or I don't know if you can even describe it as a problem. The reality is that each of the CUNY campuses is independent, and each of them is funded differently.
Right.
Some of the campuses get most of their funding from the state. Some of them get, an equal amount from the city. So it's really difficult to parse things out. I mean, the names make it sound as if we are all one sort of union.
Right.
That's only partly true.
Well, so it's kind of like the country, right? The federal and the state. So,
right. That's a good analogy.
But I don't. Is there anything else I need to know, like just for a basic intro?
I think we've shown you what we can show you for now. I mean, just remember that you can always reach out to us.
I will. I'm not
Yes.
shy about that.
Good.
Yeah.
And
And
then, there's the 24/7 chat. You can always speak to a librarian. It won't always be a CUNY librarian, but you can find somebody.
okay. So yeah, Catherine, if you could send me your list, I'd be pleased to get
I
some.
will do that. I am. Yes, and I have your email address in the registrations, so I'll do that after we stop here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all your time and energy and good spirit.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yes. Well, you were so good because you even emailed me and said I had wanted to do the last one and I can't remember what stopped me. So it's great.
Great. Well, thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I guess it is just putting. Can you see the chat when I bring the chat up, Donna?
I can see it.
Okay, great. So hopefully that will record as well as part of this. And I guess now it's just you and me, and we can say thanks, Donna. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, you too, Catherine. Thanks.
See you soon.
All right. Bye.